Hello and welcome to another AIC video. First and foremost, I apologize if you hear some banging around in the background. It is quite windy today. I've been trying to record this video for almost a week and we've had a lot of storms and stuff roll through, so it's finally kind of quietish enough for me to record. And I've also had the opportunity to take some extra time with the subject of today's video, and I'm going to be very sad to send it back at the end of this review. Normally when I get laptops from Lenovo, I typically get what they just have available, and I don't normally request specific systems. This time around I did actually specifically request to review this laptop. It is a Lenovo Thinkbook 14 Gen 8. The specs of the system include 16 gigs of RAM and an Intel Core 5 210H. I'm not a big fan of the new naming scheme, but it is what it is. So it's the newest Core i5 available in this laptop. Now, I've been interested in ThinkBooks for quite some time. I've had several in for reviews over the years, and they've always impressed me in one way or another. Either they've been very interesting or they seem to be very good value for the money. And in my opinion, could probably be a pretty viable option for those who are looking to buy a Thinkpad, especially when buying new, and don't necessarily want to shell out Thinkpad money. When I first got this laptop, I did my usual and opened it up and took a look on the inside and was quite impressed. Just about everything on this laptop is replaceable or upgradable that you would want. Wi-Fi, it has 2 RAM slots, 2 SSD slots. The one thing I would have asked for is the main charging USB port to be changed to an easily replaceable daughter board. It's the port that is most likely going to experience damage, and as such should be something that can be replaced easily and cheaply without soldering. I was surprised at how small the battery is. And then I opened it up and tickled the keys and was very impressed by the keyboard. It is better than the IdeaPads I've seen recently, though not as good as a ThinkPad keyboard. It comes pretty close. Better than my M2 MacBook Air for sure, and significantly better than the recent Dell laptop I reviewed. The trackpad is adequate, neither exceptional nor bad. Then I turned it on, and I had a wave of disappointment. I did a performance test, and it was significantly slower than my P14S Gen 2 AMD system. And the screen was dim and kind of yellowy in color, like it had jaundice. I couldn't believe that such a new system had such poor performance and such a bad screen. I decided to dig through the BIOS just to see what options there were, and I found under power, it was set to battery saver. I changed that to intelligent and reran the performance test, and boom. It was significantly better than it was before, and way better than the P14S Gen 2. The screen was still a bit sickly, so I dug into the Windows settings and found an option for change brightness based off content. I turned that off as well, and suddenly the screen is bright and usable. But now we have a small problem. That small battery came back into play. This laptop gets 3-ish hours of life. You might be able to squeeze out more playing with the settings in battery saver mode, but it could stand to have a much bigger battery. There is room for it in this chassis. I'm not sure why they didn't make that an option. I'm sure plenty of people would pay for that upgrade. The other issue I had with this laptop is the speaker quality. It's pretty similar to my older ThinkPads. Not up to modern standards, very flat and tinny. Watching multimedia videos was doable, but not enjoyable. I don't think there is a simple setting to fix them. Gaming performance is surprisingly good. Fortnite was able to hang around 60 FPS on low settings, but more importantly, I didn't get the massive drops to single-digit FPS like I usually do on integrated graphics, which made the game infinitely more playable than I'm used to on other systems. I have a feeling that most of these are going to be purchased in large quantities by businesses, but that isn't a bad thing. I would not be upset if I received this system from my workplace as a work laptop. But if you're more budget minded and need a new computer for general tasks and are not concerned so much about battery life, this is not a bad bet. At the time of writing this, a similarly equipped T14 is about $250 more expensive. I think it's totally worth considering for your next laptop.